Hey y'all, and welcome to another process video. This is a scrapbooking layout. This is going to be a baby layout. This isn't the photo that I'm going to originally use. I have a photo of my nephew, but he's little and I don't want to put him on YouTube yet, at least not on my channel. But this is the same size of the photo that I'm going to be originally putting on here. But I'm just using this for the size. Okay, so what you saw here is this stencil. The stencil is from Crayola, and this actually came in my daughter's chalk set, and she doesn't really use these. She doesn't care for these, so I thought I'm gonna use this one. So I have this paper from American Crafts for Joanne, and it's really thin, and I usually use these papers for layering behind photos. I didn't get my hands on the crate paper little U 12 by 12 papers, just the 6x6 paper pad, and I'm kind of sad. It sold out really quick, and I don't know if they're gonna bring it back to Tuesday morning. And so I'm like, well, I can't use it as like a background, but I really want to use it. So I decided to trace some big stars, like 3 of these and 3 of this size, and I think 5 of these. And so I traced them out on there, and so now I'm going to cut them. And then I wanted something like in the gray tone, and this is from Dear Lizzie Fine and Dandy, though I'm thinking maybe the print's too big, but I wanted something gray, and so I went into this paper pad here. It's at Michael's. I bought this though, I don't know, maybe 4 years ago, and it was the watercolor paper pad by Craftsmith. It was one of their Hot Buy paper pads. They don't have it anymore, and I picked out in the gray tones, blue tones that were similar from that shade. So I picked out this. For some reason I think of the sky going into like a dew, and then you have your grassy area. So that's what I'm thinking in my head. And then for this one, I would just kind of trim it here and just use this gray, very soft grid paper. Actually, it's a grid. And I would just cut the flowers off. And the same thing for this one, but there's a little bit of red in here, and there's no red in the Little U collection, so I think this one's gonna be out. I'm just telling y'all what I'm thinking. So if I were to use this paper, I think I would have these stars, once they're cut out, like kind of spread out or something. The photo would be kind of hanging out. If I were to use this one and this one, I would use half of this, cut that off right there, and then have the stars here with my photo somewhere around here. I don't know which one I want. I think I'm gonna go ahead and cut out these stars and see how it looks, and then decide from there. After cutting the stars, I knew for sure I wanted to go with that magical night idea, and so my last option, using the 2 papers and cutting it and trimming the flowers off, I didn't want to go with that idea because I thought that would take away from these cute stars. So because I'm using tons of paper products, I want a lot of dimension on this page. So my focus was how to make this very dimensional, how to add depth to it. And so I'm using a lot of foam dots, and that's what you see me doing here for a while. Then I'm going to trim off the stars. If you notice, the paper, I cut it down to 8.5 by 11 because that is now the size I'm using for my 2018 and my 2019 album. And so this is a new size for me, but it's quite fun to work with. I feel sometimes like I have to fill up the 12 by 12 space, and the 8.5, I just seem to be working really well with it. So now I did cut out these little clouds from the Little U 6x6 paper pad, and I'm fiddling with them because some of them are not full clouds, like some of them are chopped off because that's just the way they are laid out on the paper. And so I am figuring out where to place them in the stars so you don't notice that some of them are missing a piece. And there's that piece of paper that I cut
the full cloud from, so quite tiny. And so now you're going to see me pop a lot of these little bits, the clouds, and then I move on to those stars that I don't know if I mentioned earlier. The stars are just from scraps of the paper that I cut the bigger stars from. And so I didn't want it to go to waste. I was like, I know I could do something with these little stars. And so I just sprinkle those around the layout too and pop them on some pop dots for the dimension. I really enjoyed working with these colors. I have a little girl, and now that I have a nephew, I get to use the boy colors. Not that I can't use the cooler tones for a girl, but it's so fun to use the actual, like you can tell this paper was made for a boy layout, because if it wasn't for my nephew, I wouldn't have picked this. And I really do like this paper. I actually got it before I even knew I had a nephew. I thought, well, what if I have a little boy? And then I'm actually going to have another girl, which I'm really thrilled about. But then I had this paper, and when I found out I was a nephew, I was just so excited to use the stuff that I had collected already. So here I am going on to the ephemera. And I'm going to super speed this because I just diddle daddle with all of these. I'm just fiddling, and I end up just really using the All You Need Is Sleep acetate. Then I bring in the paper ephemera die cuts. Ephemera die cuts, people call them die cuts, people call them ephemera. It's the same thing. I really like that baby piece, that wood green. And then I'm just going through this, and that little tag has a little stork, and it has where you could put all the details like the time and the weight and how long he was. So I thought that would be good. I really wanted to use that You Have My Whole Heart, but because it's not the photo, I just, man, like I just couldn't picture it. Those who scrap without the photo, because I have seen some scrapbookers do all of this without having the photo, they'll put it in last. I don't know how you do it. I can't do it. So anyway, I ended up going with that ticket that said hello little one, and then I'm cutting the stars smaller because I cut them to do a 12 by 12, but then I realized this layout's going to be in my 2019 album, which is an 8.5 by 11. So I need to cut them down to fit more into the 8.5 by 11 and not look so huge. Now I'm just seeing what else I can add to my layout. These are the smaller pieces of the ephemera pack, and I'm starting to become more and more fearless of how much I layer. I used to just do like 3 little pieces, and now I just go on top and on top. And I think it's because I've been watching a lot of Happy Mail videos, even though I don't do Happy Mail, but I do it to inspire me to layer and embellish, and it's really been working and just makes me go for it. For the next few seconds, I'm going to do it in real time because I wanted to share with you some of the pretty things I get to hear while I'm scrapping. My daughter doesn't always take a nap. In the summer, she sleeps in, but she still has quiet time, so she's in her crib reading books, my husband's playing the guitar, and I'm scrapping, and it's just a really nice, peaceful time. If you're wondering what I'm doing with that gray ink pad and that thing that looks like a stamp, it's really like a felt little pad with a handle. I am inking the edges of the ephemera so that it could look a little dimensional, a little more depth, so it won't be so flat since mostly all of this is paper product. But anyway, my phone runs out of space, but I did add some close-ups. I added some sequins. I put the detail on the tags. Really loved how this turned out. Thanks for watching, and I'll see y'all in my next video. Bye!